Hi, guys. What's up? Well, I should say more than that, maybe, but I could come up with some 70s slogans that none of us would know what we were doing. We had to go, yeah, I can remember 1973 better than I can yesterday, so I probably win that contest. Um, I see that I did check. I got to quit saying, I did check with local, well, not local, but worldwide news, we'll put it that way. I see that Iran has now openly attacked Israel. This is not a terrorist attack. This is a country attack, one country against another. Now, UN is it has to be forced to act at this point. That's what they're there for, do their job. And if they're not going to do that, disband them and don't worry about paying these freaking idiots who aren't doing anything. Our battle group out there looks to be fully engaged. And I can't say for certain, being a veteran, I don't want to talk too much about what's going on my side, only that I know we're in a war, which would make this, if a few more people pile in, or should say countries, this is going to be World War III on steroids. I mean, I'm serious to God here. This is bad. This is, you would think, the mutual destructive thing was going on. It's not. Um, we've all known that Iran has been behind a lot of, especially financing and equipping the terrorists. If you pick one, I don't care which denomination of terrorist. Terrorist is terrorist. It's evil. It's like pirate, you know what that is, right? Terrorist, you know what that is. I don't know what the crap is going on about this unalive ship. They're dead. Dead is dead, dead, dead. It's not unalive. I mean, you can't get out of life alive. So just roll with it. I'm really tired of them inventing new languages, as they put this. No, I don't do the unalive and I don't do happy holidays unless I'm in a hurry. And I just group them together that way, not for their purpose, but mine. Merry Christmas is still Merry Christmas, for heaven's sakes. I worry because I still have a granddaughter in school who's been, thank God, more educated by us than the system ever will. Yeah, I'm fidgeting again. I do that. I don't know what that's about. So we have World War III going on. This is for entertainment purposes only, and you bet your skippies I'm going to be here all week. Actually, I am. Whoops, got my flowers there. I actually am here all week. Today's Sunday. I don't want to take a break. I want to be out there every day. Saying to the hippies, we're still here. Um, it's time to get together and say, love, war not. See, I'm fidgeting. It's getting worse. Uh, excuse me, man. It's probably not that funny on your end, right? I love it when my husband buys me. I call these my chunky jewelry. But I love it when he buys me these. But then I do this because it doesn't seem to lay right, or I'm fidgeting. Yeah, I'm fidgeting. Yeah, I'm in one of those moods. And of course, the pollen is beating me to death, literally. I can't see half the time with my glasses or without them because, again, I'm just crying. And you think it stops, so you go on and you get ready with your day. And for some reason, I say this every morning. I'm fine. It'll slow it down, and then I'll put the makeup on. And as soon as I turn this on and say, "Hi guys, what's happening?" Bam! You know, God's having fun today. I'm still one of those that if God or Jesus shows up, they better have ID. I'm gonna require some proof. Make that water clean or some shit. I have to wear my glasses, especially when I do this, because I think I've mentioned I have artificial lenses. The VA put in new lenses on my eyes because of the disease that was clouding them up and making me not able to see, I was like, screw it, I'll learn Braille because I'm a heavy reader. And I've always been, in fact, my son has always made sure that my Kindle is linked to his Kindle because he too reads a lot. And he and I read the same thing. It's how I kind of got him into reading, which was a start on the Dragon Legends. You may not know those. It's also, I'm a published author, and that's kind of the bent that my book took. I could have gone on. They wanted me to go. I really was going to do a trilogy with this published book as the intro, basically. The half-hour intro before you get a movie. But it just didn't go the way I thought it would. It didn't sell that much. My husband had more invested in it than I made, or at least even. I mean, he was very great to me. He was right there behind my back. He was like, "You can do this. You can do this." Paid for the editing, paid for the pictures, things like that. You got to pay for the artwork. You got to pay for the cover. Yeah, you got to pay for the print. They don't do that for you. I mean, they might if you're, say, somebody who's published 4 or 5 books already. But this again was more of a novelette to just introduce the theme to see if it would have a following, based like on Lord of the Rings, which I've always loved. I have the first edition of those by Tolkien. In any event, no, I did not plagiarize, but I really studied over what I'd written, and I had, but these were things that were normal to me, but somebody else has probably written or had written about them. So you had to do the search. I love the fact that we had that we have this wonderful tool that we can do that. So I don't want to talk that much about me. And no, the book is not in print anymore, and I've pulled it from the shelf. You won't find it. I'm sorry to say. I still have a few copies to give to the grandchildren when they're older, or whatever happens to it when I'm gone. You can't get out of life alive. And no, I don't believe this is it. Yeshua, Christ, Messiah, Jesus, whatever you want to call him by. I've seen him. And that was the thing I wanted to clear up too, that this young lady had died. She crossed over and she talked to Jesus, and she came back and she could paint like Leonardo da Vinci. I mean, better. Actually, if you want my opinion, or Michelangelo who did the Sistine Chapel, because her paintings are wall wide. I mean, they're huge paintings, and she sells the print. This particular print I'm talking about would be Jesus, as we know it here nowadays. And I see something's going on here. So, okay. And anyway, I would love to have one. I had not seen, and I had heard about her way back when she had started, but I didn't see really much of her artwork at that point. But I knew this little girl had gone and talked to Jesus. There was no doubt about that. There's no doubt that Jesus was a real person. There's no doubt he was a master. He was a teacher. All of the above. Messiah, I'm going to have to let history play that out. Uh, there's so many things to read about religion. Um, Religion, per se, has more blood on its hands than anything else in history. And then to wake up this morning to find that Iran has openly attacked Israel. That's different than a terrorist attack, folks. That's World War III. The UN, again, if the UN doesn't get involved, they need to be disbanded. But this little girl, and I say little because she was just a little bitty thing, just a little toddler, maybe a little bit better. I think she might have been 6 or 7, but she's painting wall size portraits and stuff of what she'd seen while she was there and so forth. She painted Jesus, and I didn't think it would throw me the way it did. So I pulled it up, and oh my God. And I still see that image in my mind. I still see Jesus. You had no doubt when you looked at this painting, this portrait, that he was real, that she had seen him, that she had talked to him. And this man was a force of love that just almost drew you through the computer. It was an amazing event for me. And I've gone and taken my son to be baptized by the Pope while I was over there. So it's not like I'm not a religious person. I'm not an atheist by any means. I think that everyone seems to have a bit of the truth, and that Jesus, of course, was real. I've always known that. When I saw that painting, and I hit my knees. It made a believer out of me, I'll tell you that. It sure did. And I still see it in my face. I mean, it's just, if I close my eyes, I see him. He had slightly curly hair, and he had hair like me, strawberry blonde. He had beautiful great eyes and a smile that showed love for the whole world. I can't describe it other than this guy loved everybody. I mean, really. And she somehow captured this in this portrait that she painted. And she wasn't at that point, excuse me, at that point, I don't think she was even 10 years old. She might have been when she made that portrait. It is, and if you look around at the paintings of Yeshua. Yes, I say Yeshua. It means Jesus. He was Jewish, okay, of the Benjamin tribe, the Benjamite, born in Bethlehem, so forth. But he was Jewish, I mean, totally Jewish. Which is why he was at the temple throwing things out because he knew they weren't going to allow that because that was the moneymaker. So he knew he was going to get in trouble for that nonsense. I mean, it's why maybe he did it. I don't recall as far as a way to explain that. But then when I saw that image, and I saw it last year, and I hadn't seen it before though, and ladies and gentlemen, look it up. Look up that little girl who paints the afterlife or the next life. And she's now a teenager. And those print, she doesn't sell all of her paintings like that painting of Hisua. She's not selling that. You know, the family. I'm assuming they're helping her. They're great people. You know, the whole family thing is dynamic. They're good people. So I wanted to start out with the fact that World War III seems to be started by, of course, Iran, who has been making sure these terrorists had a way to go for decades, which we've all screamed about. I want to remind everybody, too, of something history doesn't teach you. Iran changed its name from Persia to Iran in the 70s. So this is ancient Persia that's going on right now. Also, Iraq was not Iraq, it was Babylon. Not just the city of Babylon, it was the country of Babylon. They changed these two names in the 70s. It's not, I don't think, even covered in the history books. It's something that I wanted to make sure my grandchildren knew. And bless my grandson, he loved doing it to his history teacher because she would say, well, how do you know that? Oh, my grandma. She just, because I was always telling him what I'd found, or we were talking about what ghost story we found good back then. It was sightings, it was tabs with ghost busters, basically thing, with the miles of wire that they had to set out and the massive cameras, and they did that for 20 years, and they're the ones that were kicked off by Eric von Daniken in certain areas. Ancient Aliens is all kicked off from Eric von Daniken. He's a hero in my book. Very educated man, well understood by most of us. Basically, if you're going to find you a saint, I think Daniken qualifies. He was out there doing this with his own money on an elephant or walking or getting a jeep in 130-degree blistering weather and hoping they made it to such and such. He made these discoveries. He brought these to the attention of the world. It was all Eric von Daniken, just in case y'all don't know. The other one that spoke of these things would be another favorite of mine, which would be the sleeping prophet, as he's called, Mr. Edgar Casey. And if you don't know his works, look them up. I see my little home. Get. I have electronics all over the bar. That's one of my visiting kittens from my friend who wants to cry all the time, and I keep telling that friendship is friendship. You do stuff for your friends that you're not. I mean, you know, I don't expect things to be paid back. It's not a friend. And if you're taking a ticker tape on that, you're a business owner. I'm running a cat show. I'm not that. I'm her friend. I'm like the age of her grandmother, and her mother and I get along great. And I could be her mother. No, I really could. That old. I can't think you can see a bit of my flowers that Robert brought me. Aren't they gorgeous? They're just so beautiful. He brought them to, and I say us because Tiger Rose and I love our flowers. And Robert always somehow manages, no matter how broke we are. And it seems to me we're broke a lot lately, living, retired and on a fixed income. It's still my roses get here at least once a week. And no, I'm not bragging. I really am not, or maybe a little. But he's very good about doing that for me. And I love that bed. And my Tiger Rose is named Tiger Rose. And she loves roses. And she will get up there and she'll nibble on the roses. And we think that's great. So when he buys the roses, it's for me and Tiger Rose. And he usually manages to put a bouquet that has some of the yellow roses for the yellow rose of Texas. That was my first rose that he gave me. I still have that. Um, I mean, he's always treated me very, very well and put up with a lot of grief. I give him credit because I'm not an easy person to live with. It's the two rooms. Really, it's because he snored so loud. We had to explain to the neighbors it wasn't a party. So bless his heart. But he made it through stage 4, so I don't care if he's loud. We just made the upstairs basically from the man cave into an apartment. You know what I mean? He can cook, he can do anything he needs to do up there. There's a lovely bath that connects the two rooms. So and that actually peed me off because both the bathroom and the room are bigger than mine, which is the master room downstairs. And at first I wanted him to do that, but we would flip. I would take the upstairs, he would take the downstairs. And he bought me new furniture a second time a few years ago, and then again for the living room and the beds. He bought new mattresses and a new living room suite again about 2 years ago, and I was astonished because I'm used to having things for decades, and I didn't want to let go of some of the pieces because the first thing he gave me as a wedding gift was several $1,000s while we were inside of one of those, you know, buy your furniture everywhere stores as to buy what you want and to furnish our house. And it was an amazing thing for me. I'd never been treated that way, and I was very poor growing up, and I'd been poor in my first marriage because, well, the ex kept selling everything. So people you just can't change. I was lucky I have a child. And considering he was supposed to be sterile and I was on birth control, God was laughing. We will talk about that. I mean, God and I later. And time flies when I go through here. So I hope everybody has seen what's going on. My son and daughter hold it like I did at the time, a very high clearance. This can also make them in danger. They're my world. That's my baby. That's my guy. Um, he was my best friend. He still is. He's my buddy. He's my son. He's everything to me. And yeah, I gave up much to be a mother, but I was a mother. You can't just go, okay, well, I'm having a baby. I'll give it up for adoption. I'm adopted. It's not a bad thing. It's better than abortion. I never considered abortion at all. And I did consider leaving him with his mother in law while I went to Korea. And something, the spidey senses tingled. I had never met the mother in law, and it was sign him over. And like, no, because I knew where she was. I knew what she did, and I knew what her ranking was. She ranked fairly well. She ranked as high as you could go, and so did I when I finally met her and worked out there. And same with the clearances. Uh, Mine was kind of funny. Guys in suits come in and go. One of the first questions they asked me was, "Did you know you were adopted?" No, really. Just a freaking. Mm. He's like, "Ah, no, no, no." I do like to screw with people. I'm sorry, I'm a smart ass. Excuse me. Mm. As I'm trying to be a little upbeat because so much is going on. I knew things were going to get crazy when I saw the camel floating. I keep referring back to that. You guys need to look up that little girl that makes those paintings. So if you look at the paintings of Jesus, they kind of follow the Shroud of Turin down to the piece of hair that kind of crawls forward. Coins, everything. They're different, a little different. All of them, of course, are, depending on the style, the time, the artist, so forth. But they kind of had a theme. They kind of did. But the portrait that she made of Jesus, he was so much more beautiful than anything I've ever seen painted of him. He was, you could fall into him. It felt like if you could just reach him, that you would never fear again, that you would never hurt again, that you would never cry again, that you would never be cold or hungry. It was the whole package. And this was just on a screen on my book, my Chromebook. And I still, to this day, and this was over 2 years ago, I pull that up just so I could see it sometimes, in particular before I come up here, sometimes before I sleep. and sometimes only on holy days, and sometimes when I want to pray directly. And yes, it's a master. It could be Buddha. It could be Muhammad. It could be Jesus. It could be the Dalai Lama. And I think he's so funny, the Dalai Lama. I just adore him. I have a problem with the Pope because I mean, if you're going to kiss a guy's ring, yeah, it's the 21st century. It's way too over the top. I'm not kissing nobody's ring. Not even my husband's, and I like him. So I have kind of touched base on what I had forgotten to follow through. I hope. If not, leave it in the comments for the crazy woman to find out. Um, this is going to be bad before it's going to be better. I think. I really do. I've been praying a lot, and I can't say to anyone else they should pray. I believe in the power of prayer. I don't believe in organized religion. I never have, even with them throwing me out, which is fun stories. But I do believe in the power of prayer. There is, keep fidgeting. But there was many things that was said. And I get a kick out of during the solar eclipses that we had. Oh, it crosses this, and it's a city of Nineveh, and it crosses the U.S., and all of them are panicking. And why is that quiet? Yeah, these headphones are great that my husband got me. In any event, I was like, what's up with that? What? So, yeah, you have to kind of put it together yourself because there's so many things going on. And our Senate is so freaking with, they're trying to bypass the Senate to do all kinds of stuff. Um, this Chuck Schumer, they need to follow the money, and they really, really, really need to put this man in jail. He's such a traitor. Um, the whole, oh, here it goes again. The whole department is I mean, and I'm talking the Senate, the Senate and the House. It's only, to me, as many as I can count on two hands. So I think I wouldn't tar and feather and maybe hang in the rose garden. Oh, Fancy Nancy be right on top of my list. Now, how can you say after 40 odd years, almost 50 odd years, that you've been in power? Is that's what the Senate is? It checks the House checks the president, da 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 da. If you understand constitutional law, look it up. This throws the Constitution out. They'd already done that with the filibuster. I don't even want to explain those concepts because I didn't quite get it myself. So our government's going absolutely stupid. You got 11 million plus people running around in the country. They don't know where they are. They don't know how to do it. They're doing the smash and grab. And I love this part. The cops are standing there with, as they say now, long guns. I couldn't tell you what they were myself. They look like a version of an M16, which is an army rifle. What I trained with. Great rifle. I love that thing. I still say I'm gonna get one for here. We have a lot of weapons, so in any event, you think about God, you think about Jesus. They're the Messiah. I can't say if he's the Messiah. I can tell you truthfully that he walked this planet. I can tell you that this man was amazing to see in just a painting of him. She nailed him. There's no doubt in my mind. She nailed this man. And he had hazel eyes like I did. Yet they just shined. The smile. I mean, she painted Jesus, and then I started going, oh my God, I had studied this for 30, 40, 50 years, whatever. But I was convinced after that painting. So you guys should look that up. If not, if you don't know where, if you're interested, send it in the comment. I got live chat on. And I'll do my best to at least copy and send a paste through this so you can bring it, pull it up. But the man was real. He was more than real. This guy is. I'd have followed him anywhere, and I will follow him now. Now I'm too old to go to Israel. Otherwise, I'd be in Jerusalem right now. It's a it's a bone of contention with me that I would say 60% of Americans are behind Israel. but the other 40% are out there from the river to the sea. I just want to slap them and slap them and slap them again and then send them home to mommy and then slap mama. Because they're paying a fortune for these guys to go to Harvard. They're out there wearing Palestinian flags and they don't know a damn thing about the history. Nothing. They don't even know what the river to the sea means. It means get rid of every Israeli dead. Dead, dead, dead. Okay? Global jihadist has already started. Global jihad has already started. And for those of you who are not familiar with the things of the Middle East, global jihad is global war for Muhammad, their Messiah. It's hard to tell because they're all named Muhammad. It's just I don't mean anything by that, but I do recall that, and I love Cat Williams, and I apologize again to Cat because I'm going to use maybe some of his material unintentionally, but he was like, you know, does anybody remember what they wore as uniforms? What did the Iraqis wear as uniforms? What did they wear in Afghanistan as uniforms? Does anybody remember a uniform? And I love him. He's so funny. He's like, no, he's up there in sweatpants, Adidas, and some sandals. He's so right. In particular, it came out this time because they actually did have uniforms. They shucked them and they put on whatever and blended in with the population. So they thought they did get away with it for a little while. In any event, now it's a different thing. It's not terrorists lobbing weapons in there, which was bad of freaking. Now it's war. That's two countries already embroiled. There will be more that will come against them because of Iran. And the Clintons made damn sure they could put together a nuclear weapon. And that's some more traitors that need to be tried, thrown. Yeah, get a rope. Prove me wrong. I dare you. Get up here. All my hippies, get up here and say, love and peace, not war. I don't want my kids to go into a place because it's glowing green and they got to mop up. I don't want grandkids growing up because and looking at the skies going, well, is the missile coming today? And this is what they face every day, every hour, every minute in Israel, every day. For so those of you who have little chits that are running around Harvard, slap them, take them out, take them home, slap them some more, and teach them the truth. The truth. And you don't need to be looking at NBC for that because you're not going to get the truth at NBC. NBC is all politics. CBS, ABC, all of them. CNN, all of those have been bought and are talking heads about politics. And what in the hell are people still paying these people for? They don't do the job if you get them elected. They just spend more money. Now they're saying they're going to get rid of entitlements. And so help me God, 65 or not, if they tell me that my retirement out of Social Security is an entitlement, I will walk to DC. And I will not be unarmed, and I'll be looking for the idiots that said that. Send the helicopters. I'm tired and I'm bored. Myra has to do the grass. This is why we also remind you it is for entertainment purposes. Try not to shoot me today. And again, I warn you, do not ever doubt that if your military is aligned against you and they yell shoot, Tiananmen Square is going to look like a picnic. I'm a veteran. I'm an Army veteran myself. I don't think it would have meant, and I still don't. And I love America. But if that's where I was stationed and somebody said fire, it's automatic. You're going to fire. You're trained to do that. You follow orders. Look up Kent State, everybody out there. If you don't know what it is, let me know. I'll inform you and I'll give you a link as to where you can find it. Life did a good picture and pictures and storyline when that happened. But look up Kent State, Ohio State College, University. Kent was the university, I think. But again, don't ever think that your government won't shoot you because they will shoot you twice. If they tell them to send another volunteer, they will. We're trained that way. We are trained that way. Most of us who are veterans now, which you got to love because they cause us homegrown terrorists. Great moniker. I love that. That's why I served my country so I could go home and be called a terrorist. Again, I hope Nancy Pelosi, if she was on the opposite side of the street and she saw me, she better start running. Because I don't play fair and I would do my damnedest to mhm, get her for a couple of things that she's an evil woman, evil. Mind you, the same thing that's going on right now. This is evil, evil. You cannot say, oh, this is war and leave it at that. It's evil. And you can't stay out of it. If the UN does nothing now, well, they're not even, there's no reason to have a building. There's no reason to have anybody in there. And there, for God's sure, is no reason to give them money. You attack one, you attack all. Well, this has now become country against country. This is not a terrorist activity. This is a country attacking a country. Now, not all of us are stupid. Some of us go, hey, wait a minute, you can't do that. Where is NATO? Where is the UN? What the hell do we pay them all this money for? It is time for us to stand up and ask these questions. This is what social media is. I call it social Woodstock. I want to be heard. I want them to know that there's still some people out here are hippies who believe in peace, love, and not war. And then where the hell are you doing? We didn't tell you to do that. Did you ask the citizens what they thought? Well, in this particular case with Iran lobbying in Israel, yeah, we got a battle group out there. I'd hit them with everything I had. I didn't say I wouldn't, but you didn't talk to us. And you still aren't talking to us. Basically, I'm getting my news straight out of Israel. Those of you who don't know your Bible, who go to church every Sunday and listen to some idiot preach at you about fire and brimstone, go home and read the damn Bible and stay out of church. They don't need your money. They got enough planes. A church is supposed to help the needy. There shouldn't be any homeless. There shouldn't be any people hungry, notwithstanding the billionaires that actually own us. But that's what the church is supposed to be doing. They're supposed to be finding places for these people. They're supposed to be setting up kitchens and so forth. John Bon Jovi, I love him. I mean, I just adore him. I've talked to him many times back when he was a rock star, gorgeous man, inside now. And I saw him doing dishes at one of the places he's opened to feed the homeless. And so he gives back. They try to give back, some of them anyway, but he was doing dishes. So that's more than giving back. Um, that's total respect from me. So reach out there, guys. If you do go to church, ask them the main questions. Ask them, why did you put this down? Why haven't you got a sick kitchen? Why don't you have food available for these people? You can get donations. If they put a $20 bill on the plate, tell them to bring $20 worth of groceries. Put clothes in there, put food in there, put cots in there. These are huge. Have you seen a church lately? Any church of a major denomination? Look at, I'll give you the Vatican, for God's sake. If you look at it, there's some things going on there, and you can find out online too. And I can't think of which it is. I'd have to surf to find it, but you could type it in, they'll pull it up. Love Google. And again, I apologize. I am not one of those people who jump over and get a video and throw it in to explain what I'm talking about, unless I'm asked. Because I think that there's more than enough that you need to do your own wet work, basically, which is not a good term. But you need to get in there and find out for yourself. You don't need a talking head to tell you this. You need your own brain. Use it. It works. You're not going to like a lot of things when you start looking into it, because they tell you one thing and it's totally opposite of what is real or whatever was real. I could tell you many, but I don't have that much time. I try to pick one each time I come up. So I wanted to remind everybody to check that. And don't watch CNN for it. Don't watch a major, as they put it, news network. They're not news. They're political talking heads. And the only reason they're on there reporting it at all is because it's something that they can use to bring in the old admiral or bring in a retired guy from the UN, whatever. And how do you feel about I don't give a crap about what those people feel. They're not holding a position. They have no intelligence as far as what's coming in and going on. So what the hell are they doing on TV espousing anything? You know, I did a lot of stuff in my day. I'm not up there and I have a broadcast. I don't get up here and tell you people what to do. That's ridiculous. You couldn't tell me what to do when I was 11. I tear you apart. My husband says And he's right. We learned something we call the dozens. And I've seen the rappers do it too. Uh, Basically, if somebody said this or that to you, you tore them up. But you didn't do it physically. You did it by, talking this kind of crap. I got really good at that. I'm really good at that. And I've honed those skills over the years, as my husband puts it. And he's right. He's more than right. So he really does put up with a lot of stuff. And he's a good guy. He's a really good guy. So he's not one of those though that watch the news or is like me, going, no, don't do that. Do this because it drives him crazy. So you're talking to the TV. TV doesn't answer. I win every argument. It's perfect. Also, it gives me kind of an outlet, and I used to just break plates and stuff because you have to let some of the anger out. So yelling at the TV kind of helps me with that. So again, I've spent a half an hour trying to fill everybody in on what I talked about before, what's going on today. They have admitted that, by the way, and I'm back to Israel. Uh, the terrorists seem to have admitted. I don't know if they've admitted it or if Iran has. I haven't seen who admitted it, but somebody did. And I said this Monday, not online, but I said it. Um, I don't believe that the hostages are alive. There might be a few, but I think they've killed most of them. As each tunnel went down, as each escape route went down, and the ambulances were caught, and the hospital places were, you know, each place they lost a place to hide or use whatever was there. And I think they might have left them in the tunnels locked in between with those uh, doors, the blast doors, so that they had no air, no water, no food. I don't know, but I had that feeling that they had been killed, and I don't know. I don't ignore my feelings. I don't look for those things. But I must have been doing some kind of searching. And I like to astral travel. Again, that's another one. Look it up or ask me about it, and I'll do a whole segment. I'd have to do a segment. And I've been doing astral travel since I was a very young girl. I was reading college level at night, so this is, this was things I had learned on my own. Um, and I didn't like what I saw everywhere in the Middle East. For one thing, life is cheap if it's not one of them. You don't deserve to live. I've read the Quran. People are going, oh, the Quran does not say to kill. Yes, it says to kill everybody. They call them infidels in the Quran, which is their Bible, as we say. And yeah, it tells them in several passages you have to kill the unbelievers. They have to convert or they die. That's the bottom line right there. I'm not going to quote verse of scripture on the Quran anymore than I do the Bible. I want you to do your own work on that. I want you to say, okay, wow, really? I didn't know that. Because it's fun, for me anyway, to say, oh, Nineveh got blown up, I think would be the correct term, by the ISIS terrorist. Oh, God, 4 or 5 years ago, I guess. Now, Nineveh is really Babylon. It's a city of Babylon because today's Iraq, it's right there. And today's Iraq was Babylon. And Nineveh is where they found all the library of Sennacherib, uh, who was the major king, and these almost a million tablets. Well, I understand that they may still be digging them up. And this is where we get the Gilgamesh story, which is kind of clicks with Noah, this kind of thing. And then they blew up Nineveh. What the hell? What the hell? Really, what the hell? I saw that TV started crying. I mean, I'm not even from there. I did the DNA thing. You could tell from the hair, green eyes. Yeah, so I'm UK. Um, these guys, this was their absolute history. They blew it up. This place that existed under these detritus of melting mud bricks and so forth, still preserved things like those clay tablets. And actually, those were preserved because it was on fire. You can read about it anytime you want. The Bible backs up the version. Um, so Nineveh, I was just heartbroken to see that they burned Nineveh. Oh my God! First, they went in with sledgehammers to get all the faces. See, because you're supposed to be faceless in the Quran. Another reason they had their women as an excuse. The women in the '60s were running around with miniskirts. Suddenly, they're back in hijab, so you can see their eyes barely because they have the mesh over them. So those that come to America, they need to chill out and say, "This is what's going on here. Get out. You don't deserve to be hidden by black folds of whatever. You look like Cousin It in that sheet." I mean, not trying to be mean. I'm just saying. Uh, the women have nothing. They have no saying anything. I think they did start letting them drive in a few countries. These beliefs are upheld by many nations in the Middle East. I think a lot of people have forgotten. Uh, the '70s is when these guys stopped being like the poorest people, other than those in Africa that I don't even know how they're alive, many of them. But it was about the same thing. They were extremely poor, extremely uneducated. They didn't have nothing. If they had a donkey, they were rich. And then they found oil and they put OPEC together. They didn't, the Allied countries did. And then we had the gas crisis in the '70s, around the clock waiting to get gas. Um, Gas, it depends on what state you're in. It might be 250 in this state, but you go to California at 750. I kid you not, you can't make this shit up. I mean, uh, the taxes are unbelievable, and it's bending us over. I guess everybody forgot about the Boston Tea Party, which was supposed to have been because King George had instituted another tax on tea. They didn't like that shit, so they went to war. And that didn't happen once. Okay, people, I know I had different education, but for those of you who are history buffs, we didn't go to war just once with Britain. Britain came back in 1812, pretty much kicked our ass, burned down the White House and shit. They were pissed. But we won again. And again, I think that's because we were working with an area that we knew. So they were probably snipering the shit out of. I would have been. I did hear an announcer say, uh, the war that America lost, or the war that America won. I can't remember which way they put that. They were talking about the Civil War. I was like, dude, that was everybody American. It was America. They fought each other. So who won? Who lost? The whole country lost. We lost. We put suppositions on the South that crippled them. They stole everything, land included. They called them carpetbaggers because they would come in with that little carpetbag suitcases and buy property for pennies because they either died fighting the war or one of the Confederates had one leg and they had to have a place there. They sell it. So you don't see, and they didn't buy it to keep it as a plantation. So you don't see these things rarely. Whispering Oaks is one of the most beautiful that I've seen. But they don't have too many. And they came through Atlanta and they burned everything. So that was rough. They headed for Savannah. Now, my daughter in law took me to Savannah. Best tourist I've ever had. We had such a shockingly good time. We really did. But she knew Savannah real well. Her parents used to vacation there and she loved Savannah too. I had never been there. And oh my God, it was great. Got to go to it was just great. There was even a brick wall that they had started building because they knew Sherman was coming that way, and he'd already burned Atlanta to the ground, and they knew he was going to do the same thing. They were tired of the war. They didn't want any more people dying, so it was get them now. Now go hit them hard. Just kill them all. Keep going. So they thought for sure he was going to burn down Savannah. And they're bricking walls up, and they're doing these things. I saw several of the tombs of the generals and so forth, which really broke my heart because these men fought for an ideal, uh, And then finally, they began to fight a war just to not be extinguished, period, their way of life. And they saw that coming. They saw that their way of life was gone and they were losing it. So this was really hard on these people. People also forget that General Grant and General Lee both graduated together from West Point. Most of the generals on either side graduated from West Point. They knew each other. Um, and it broke Robert E. Lee's heart. He didn't want to go to war. He tried everything, but his state went to war. They seceded, which is what we call sanctuary cities today. I'm just kidding, but really, no, they should sanctuary cities might be behind. And I'm trying to clean things up here, but that's not an easy thing to do. I see my time is also expiring. So those of you who want to know, I have my live chat on it. It's Sunday. It's early. I don't. If it weren't for my age, the fact that I've done this all my life, I wouldn't be here. I'm up. I'm up, showered, watching with my coffee, watch the sunrise. So it's a thing of mine. I love that. My husband's so sweet to me. He brought these to me, and they're wine. They have wine taste. It's I call them cheroots or cigarillos. I don't know what they're called in the United States, but my husband's sweet, and there's only 5 per pack. And I had quit smoking years and years ago, or maybe just years ago. So I also have a vapor. He's bought me 3 or 4 systems as they've increased and gotten better with it. So if I don't have one of these, I have a vape. These I love these, and only me and five. And they go out, as you can see, they go out. And I love that fact because I'm not going to smoke, for 4 hours. I want it could take me 2 3 days to smoke a whole one. And he was sweet enough yesterday to bring me some. And it was very very kind of him because he doesn't want me to smoke them really. Mm. They remind me of Europe a lot. These are what I smoked when I was in Europe because my cigarettes went to pay the rent. I had 2 jobs, army and a job in the German industry. And they loved our Jack Daniels and they loved our cigarettes. And so it was just cheaper for me to buy these, and give them the whatever American cigarette they wanted. Usually they wanted Marlboro. That was the popular one. And Cool, I think, was the popular one. I can't remember. And they loved our ice cream. So we used a lot of a bartering system to pay for things, and like our bathroom was outside, our shower it was all that was outside. Fun stuff when you have a baby. you, you should see me trying to get from off base back to, and I lived off base because they just couldn't get us an apartment. They had us in an 8 room bedroom apartment, and I didn't want to stay in that because it was just not fair. There were people who had a lot of kids. I don't even know why they had that, but I looked and I found that a place off base, but it wasn't too far from Carlsbad where I was stationed, and so I could walk there even with the preambulator or baby buggy as it's known here, and it was wonderful. It had plastic everywhere. You could put it all up because I had to go in the snow, the rain. It didn't matter because I had to get him and then get off to another job, and so I had a lot of fun between doing that. I running around to see what they had here or there. I love France, great people. Germany too. I love France and Germany. I loved England, Italy. But they're all like right here. It's like going from Alabama to Texas. I mean, you might. It's like that. Only you could drive 180, which was awesome. I had a little BMW. That puppy would move. I'll tell you. And I think that's where I developed what my husband calls my heavy foot. So I don't know what to say other than I think we're at war, which would make it World War III, and I don't like the tone of that. I have a grandson that's active duty. I have a son who's the highest rank you probably can get, like me, uh, as far as civil service and secrecy. So I don't know what's going to be going on with them. And I really worry about that. My other grandson is home from Korea and he's out of the army, and I'm glad of that. But either way, any of us are in danger. And I believe that this global jihad that I pointed out a few minutes ago, I expect that to start at any time. In Australia yesterday, they had a guy running around, killed 8 people. He had a knife. So, they keep saying, oh, we got to get your guns while you come ahead. Yeah, because I'm going to shoot you. I'm going to shoot you. You can't take away my weapons or my Bible. People forget why the pilgrims came here. They came here because they kept knocking in their doors, then arresting them and beheading, hanging, so forth, because of their religion. They were not able to practice their religion. So they came here. That's what the pilgrims were all about. Thanksgiving is rather ironic because the Native Americans saved those pilgrims by teaching them how to get through the winter, this, that, and the other. We still celebrate Thanksgiving. We don't point out that we massacred those same people about 50 years later. No, they don't point that out. No, no. Just the Indians and the Pilgrims got along. Well, they did. They did. Um, I'm not even sure who decided to wipe them out, except they wanted the country. So, it could be anybody. There's some good books on history. A couple of guys that come forward and done a good job. I can't breathe. Brian Kilmeade from Fox, and I still like Fox. And I've watched these reporters, like Steve is usually on in the mornings, and his son Peter is a White House correspondent. But I watched Peter come on when his dad was just that when that channel started in San Antonio. It was free, and I've watched his little Peter, his son, grow up. That's how long they've been there. And his son was the one asking questions that Biden, again, another guy forgot his microphone was live, said that stupid son of a bitch about Peter Ducey. His name is Peter Ducey. His daddy, Steve Ducey on Fox. And he's a correspondent, of course, to Fox. I couldn't believe that. This guy is so petty that he would say that. And this kid, and it's because he didn't want to answer the question. He didn't want to even hear the question that this kid had. And I say kid, he's like my grandson's age, in his 20s. And I've watched him grow up on television. He's so good. I just adore him too. So yes, I do dip into Fox to see a few of them. Brian Kilmeade, who I mentioned, I stand running out of time, so I'll talk faster. He did write, I think it's three, it might be 4 books now on history, on actual American history, and he didn't pull no punches. He didn't hide shit. None of that. What you see and what you read in those books happened in it, and he doesn't gloss it over. And I like that. I ordered some books from the uh, Earl Spencer. He was Princess Diana's brother, or still is, but he is the most arrogant. I didn't buy but the one. Um, and you get to have a little thing on it, of his. He's supposed to say something, and you paid extra for that. But I had respect for Earl Spencer. I really did. He's the Earl of well, anyway, Spencer, and they're an old family name up in England. But he was an absolute ass with what he said on my book. It made me want to go out and burn a book, and I would hurt somebody if I saw somebody do that. But this man was so arrogant with his answer or what he wrote on my book that I would not even recommend his book to anyone to read. Although I have to admit it's very factual, it's written well, it's boring. So I mean I have to give it that it's boring. It's not a great book, but it's accurate. So if there's a book you want to know about British history, his line is pretty good. But be warned, he's an arrogant SOB. He really is one of the most arrogant people that I've met. And I've met some cookies, I'll tell you what. to argue with a lot of senators, and well, I used to argue with a lot of DC. I'll put it that way. My favorite senator, and this is when the Watergate Hotel was open, and I used to go there for lunch and a drink. It was called the two martini lunch. Back then, it was two martinis and three Valiums, so you could finish the afternoon. Um, and he would always buy us drinks if he was there, and usually he was there. I'm not going to mention his name. He was a war hero. He was a senator. He was a good senator, and I liked him, which I can't say of anyone else through that time, but I liked him. And there weren't too many in at that time. I don't think of anyone else that I met that I liked, and I don't hold back. If hey, my husband will say something to kill you, well, if it crosses my mind, I'm going to tell you. You put your pants on the same way I do, one leg at a time. You do not impress me. If I were talking to the Dalai Lama, it'd be the same as if I was talking to my neighbor. I don't believe in special treatment. Actually, neither does the Dalai Lama. He's fun. I love him. He's always got that smile. But yeah, so my senator, who was just he was crazy, um, and he survived as a POW. He was actually fairly well injured, and I won't mention which injury or whatever because you might know who he was. And I say was. I'm an old woman, so he's not there, and tragically passed away years ago. But he was a good guy. He was a good senator. He served his country, believed in his country. And he was always telling me, after getting me a drink, you got to get out of here. They're going to shoot you. Don't say that looking around. Like, don't say that so loud. Because I didn't care who you were. The truth is the truth. If I don't care. Pope, bishop, senator, I don't care who you are. Truth is truth. You telling me the truth and it's true? Hey, we're good. I'll buy you the drink. But he would never let me get my own drinks. It was me and Betty, my ex mother in law, would go. And we always took 2 hour lunches because there were so many people in there. You couldn't get anything to eat. You could get your drink. They could get that to you pretty quick. So you had 4 or 5 of those. And by the time your food got there, you're like, I got to go and take that with you. So when the alcohol wore off, you could munch a little bit. Yeah. Things were different back then. It was the 80s. So, and I had already gone around the world and I had gone through many areas of the United States as well. And I always thought it was sad that my friends that I grew up with never left the town that we lived in. They actually inherited their parents' homes, the parents that sadly passed away, including my best friend, one house down from me, inherited the home. And it was so prevalent that when I went to visit my husband, I took my husband to see my school, and he only saw like a third of it. And he thought it was huge, and he only saw a third of it. And it was the weekend, so I couldn't get in there to take him through. I wanted to take him through all of them, about 6 miles, but I couldn't do that. We just didn't have time. And I wanted to see my friend Denise. She was my best friend growing up, and she had not kept in touch, although I had tried to. And it saddened me when I got to see her when I went home. Very rarely there at the end, and not at all. So I had not been there probably in a decade or more. And we walked, and she invited us, and I always went to the back door because there was an enclosed porch, and it was her brother's new bedroom. He loved that. And that's the basement we all used to shoot pool in and stuff, just like on the 70s show. Just keep popsicles in there for us in the freezer. And I loved her parents. They were great to me. So, but when we walked in, the only thing that had changed was the color of the appliances. Their parents had the avocado green. That was, I don't know what that was about, but that was the thing. But it was like walking back in time to the 70s, the early 70s. The rest of it hadn't changed. The furniture hadn't changed. She still had the old TV, with the stereo and everything. That was like the top of that you could get. Period. It was the top of science of the day. So they never used it really. I don't know why they bought it. I mean, they used the TV, and so it was a real, eye opener for me to go in and see that it was the same. I kept expecting Annabelle or Bill, her parents, to walk out. And her dad was so crazy. He would fill up coolers with ice and throw them at us kids. I mean, I just right out there playing with the kids. His wife, no, not really. She was more laid back at home as a homemaker, and she worked full time and every time, believe it or not, from Kmart. Hope she still has. No, I'm sorry. I think they passed on. In any event, I had a great childhood. Those of you who are out there, like, share, tickle the button, and I didn't mess with you much today. Subscribe. To keep this channel, I can't do without you guys. And it's Social Woodstock. I want you guys out here. I want to hear your opinions. I want the world to hear us again before we have no say. I have no idea when this is going to stop. I'm shocked that social media has lasted this long without a lot of interference from both the government and so forth. So get out here, my hippies. Come and see me. Talk to me. Throw a line in there. I will get to you. I promise. I promise you. You guys mean everything to me, and I will not keep this channel if I don't have you. So you got to subscribe. You got to like. You got to get out there and do that. If those of you who are seeing me don't have this, I try to drop them into Facebook as well. You can try to friend me, send a friend me. I usually didn't accept a lot of friend requests, but I will try to do that because I'm finding that many are trying to reach me on Facebook that do not have YouTube or perhaps are busy from 10 to 12, and that's when I try to drop this, and I'm over my time. So again, if you have any questions, if you want to be in and you have a question, just send me a line in comments. You can do that on Facebook. You can do that on YouTube. YouTube is free. Just stay away from premium because you have to pay for it. The algorithms, I don't know what the point is that we have to have 1,000, but we have to have 1,000. And thanks to you guys for fast approaching that. I can't tell you guys how much you mean to me. And I think we mean a lot to the world. Social media in itself does. But let's put the hippies in there. We need that peace, love, no war thing because now Iran's in it and we're in it. I'm trying to. So we need to be out there. That we need to be heard again. I want to be heard again. I want all of us to be heard again before we're not here. So get in here, come to the bar, and tell me what you think. If you disagree, disagree, guys, disagree. That's what it's for. So I can learn with you. That's to me what it means. I learned a lot during those years that I was a hippie before I had to turn into a mother with 3 jobs. So, I could only do the hippie thing a few years and then I was off and running because what you do. So I think that's why I also don't have my 1,000 yet, but I'm getting there and I'm a stubborn old woman. So I want to say again, happy Sunday. Try to stay abreast of current events because things are not going well and we need to know. And I think they need to. It's a pity that that guy can't be removed from office because he's treason. It's not just treason. It's way worse. He's a traitor. He's the worst traitor besides Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer. The trio, and should be held accountable for the fact that he's a treasonous traitor to his country. Why are they giving them the free pass? How did he get where he is? I do not know. But I met that man. I met him when he was a senator. And he was the most racist thing I had come across in my life at that point. Though I wasn't that old. I agree. I wasn't that old. But I found him offensive. I didn't like him at all. I'll put it that way. I just did not like this man. He was so racist that just you didn't even have to hear him talk. You didn't have to talk to him. He was just racist. You could see it, and how he worded things, how he did things. He was racist. He's still racist. And if you can't do anything but go, oh, I can fix this or that, and not do it for 49 years, why do they need another 5, 4, whatever it is? I don't know. Everybody says, well, go and vote. We can change that. Well, you think? Look it up. I want you to learn for yourselves. Google will tell you the exact description of how an American president is elected. He is elected by the Electoral College. He is not elected by popular vote. And that vote in the Electoral College is done well before our vote, the people, in November 3rd. Look it up. Yeah, they say, oh, because this state has only got three, and this state has six members. I don't care. It's supposed to be the vote of the people, and they say, oh, we vote like the people want us to vote. Screw you. I mean, I didn't tell you to send no money nowhere, and I sure as hell didn't tell you to wipe out Social Security, wipe out unemployment, so you guys could have a plane trip to the Barbados. Okay, just saying. I didn't tell your ass to do that. I wouldn't vote for your ass to do that. And truthfully, I don't vote because it's not worth piss. So, all of you out there, please look that up. Don't send them money. Don't send any of them money. And the Danish people, if you want to run for something, you got to pay for it. They are not allowed to take money from the citizens. Stop giving them money. What the hell is that? Oh, well, would they raise 4 million for the Democratic caucus? What? There are people starving in the streets. If you've got extra money, don't give it to the church and don't give it to a politician. Put it away for yourself, your family, or maybe you could reach out and help some of them homeless people. And on that rant, I'm going to say, hey guys, entertainment purposes only, throw a like, try to subscribe. Even if you don't like me, you can fight with me. I love those. Yeah, I do. I look forward to those. So I got to go. I've been a little bit over time today. Again, you're all so much appreciated. You just don't know. I love doing this and I want to keep doing this. So join me. Let our voices be heard while they can be. Maybe, just maybe, our grandchildren will be able to say, well, my grandparents did this and this. Because I want my kids, I want my grandkids to remember me. I don't know if I can make a change in the world, but I sure as hell would like to give it a shot the way the world keeps going. But then I'm an old woman. So I better go, guys. Toodles.